Ever wondered why your videos don't look as smooth and professional as the ones you see in movies? The secret might be simpler than you think, and it has everything to do with one camera setting, shutter speed. So, what exactly is shutter speed? In simple terms, it is how long your camera's shutter stays open to let light in for each frame of your video. But in filmmaking, it's not just about brightness. It's all about how motion is captured. Think of it this way. The faster your shutter closes, the less motion blur you get. The slower it closes, the more motion blur you see. Let's take a moving car as an example. With a really fast shutter speed, the car will look perfectly sharp, almost frozen in time. But with a slower shutter speed, you'll see a slight blur trailing the car, which shows its movement. This little bit of blur is what we call motion blur, and it's the key to making your videos feel natural and cinematic, just like what our eyes are used to seeing in real life. Now you might be thinking, when should I use a fast shutter speed versus a slow one? Well, a fast shutter speed is your best friend when you need to freeze action. Think about sports videos, wildlife documentaries with fast-moving animals, or intense action scenes. The motion looks incredibly crisp and detailed. However, if you use it for everyday scenes, it can sometimes feel a bit too sharp, almost jittery or unnatural. On the flip side, a slow shutter speed creates more motion blur, which makes movements feel incredibly smooth and fluid. This is the secret sauce behind that classic cinematic look. The motion feels more organic and pleasing to the eye, which is why filmmakers love it. This brings us to one of the most fundamental rules in all of filmmaking, the 180-degree shutter rule. This rule is a game changer. It states that your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting at the standard cinematic 24 frames per second, your ideal shutter speed would be 1/48th of a second. Since most cameras don't have that exact setting, we use the closest one, which is usually 1/50th. If you're shooting at 30 frames per second, a common setting for online content, you'd set your shutter speed to 1/60th. Following this simple rule creates the perfect amount of motion blur that our brains associate with high-quality, professional films. It's what makes the motion look so natural and polished. This rule is especially crucial when shooting handheld videos, shorts, or reels. If your shutter speed is too slow while moving the camera, your footage will look blurry and shaky. If it's too fast, your movements will look choppy and harsh. Finding that 180-degree sweet spot is key. Of course, shutter speed doesn't work in a vacuum. It's part of what we call the exposure triangle, along with aperture and ISO. When you change your shutter speed, you're also changing the amount of light hitting your sensor. For example, if you increase your shutter speed to freeze motion, you're letting in less light, making your image darker. To compensate, you'll need to open up your aperture or increase your ISO. This is where many beginners go wrong. They often use shutter speed as their primary tool to control brightness, but changing your shutter speed just for exposure can completely ruin the quality of your motion. The professional approach is to set your shutter speed based on the 180-degree rule to lock in that perfect motion blur. And then use your aperture, ISO, and especially ND filters to control the brightness. ND filters are like sunglasses for your lens, allowing you to maintain that cinematic shutter speed even in bright daylight. So, how can you master this? The best way is to practice. Go out and record the same moving subject, a person walking, a car driving by, anything with motion using different shutter speeds. Try a very fast one, then try one that's too slow, and then try the 180-degree rule. When you compare the clips side by side, you'll have that aha moment. You'll see exactly how shutter speed shapes the feel of your video. In filmmaking, every single setting is a creative choice that helps tell your story. Shutter speed is your tool for controlling the feeling of movement. Once you truly understand its power, your videos will instantly level up. So, on your next shoot, pay close attention to your shutter speed. It's not just a technical setting. It's an artistic tool that can transform your work. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more filmmaking tips.